Ever wondered what secrets an abandoned house hides? What stories its walls could tell if they could speak? The creaks and groans of an old house, the whispers of the wind through broken windows, the eerie silence that seems to hold its breath. These are the things that make us wonder. What happened here? Who lived and died within these walls? And why was it abandoned? Left to decay and be forgotten? On Hawthorn Street, it's best not to find out. The locals avoid it, crossing the street to avoid walking past its crumbling facade. They speak in hushed tones about the house, as if afraid it might hear them. The children dare each other to touch its front gate, but none are brave enough to venture inside. It's a place of mystery and fear, a place where the past seems to linger, waiting for someone to uncover its secrets. In a quiet town, an old house on Hawthorn Street stood ominous, abandoned and dreaded. Its windows were like dark, empty eyes, staring out at the world with a silent, malevolent gaze. The paint was peeling, the roof sagging, and the garden overgrown with weeds. It was a house that seemed to have a life of its own, a presence that could be felt even from a distance. The air around it was heavy with a sense of foreboding, as if the house itself was warning people to stay away. Local legend claimed anyone who stayed overnight vanished without a trace. The stories were passed down from generation to generation, each one more terrifying than the last. Some said the house was cursed, others believed it was haunted by the spirits of those who had died there. There were tales of strange lights seen in the windows at night, of ghostly figures wandering the halls, and of eerie sounds that could not be explained. It was a place of nightmares, a place where the line between the living and the dead seemed to blur. One autumn evening, friends Tom, Sarah and Mike decided to challenge that legend. They were young and fearless, eager for adventure and excitement. They had heard the stories, but they didn't believe them. They thought it would be fun, a way to prove their bravery and have a good scare. They packed their bags with flashlights, snacks and sleeping bags, and set off for the house as the sun began to set. They laughed and joked as they walked, their voices echoing in the stillness of the evening. As the sun set, they crept into the house, its musty air thick with dust and decay. The floorboards creaked under their feet, and the walls seemed to close in around them. The air was cold and damp, and the smell of mold and rot was overpowering. They shone their flashlights around, revealing cobwebs, broken furniture, and peeling wallpaper. It was a place that had been forgotten by time, a place where the past still lingered in every corner. Tom, the skeptic, laughed it off. He didn't believe in ghosts or curses. He thought it was all just a bunch of old stories meant to scare people. He made jokes and tried to lighten the mood, but there was an edge to his laughter, a hint of nervousness that he couldn't quite hide. He was determined to prove that there was nothing to be afraid of, that the house was just an old abandoned building with no secrets to hide. But as they explored, whispers and thumps echoed around them. The sound seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere, a soft, eerie murmur that sent chills down their spines. They tried to ignore it, telling themselves it was just the wind or the house settling, but the whispers grew louder, more insistent. It was as if the house was trying to communicate with them, to tell them something they didn't want to hear. Sarah's flashlight flickered, a chill ran down her spine. She felt a sense of dread, a feeling that something was watching them, waiting for the right moment to strike. She tried to shake it off, to tell herself it was just her imagination, but the feeling wouldn't go away. She clutched her flashlight tighter, her heart pounding in her chest. On the second floor, the whispers grew louder. They seemed to come from the walls themselves, a soft, sibilant sound that made their skin crawl. They followed the sound, their footsteps echoing in the empty halls. The air grew colder and the darkness seemed to close in around them. It was as if the house was leading them somewhere, drawing them deeper into its depths. They found a foggy mirror, its surface hiding secrets. The glass was old and cracked, and a thick layer of dust covered it. They wiped it clean, revealing their own reflections staring back at them. But there was something else, something lurking just beneath the surface. It was as if the mirror was a window into another world, a world where the past and the present were intertwined. Suddenly, the temperature dropped. The air grew so cold that they could see their breath, and a sense of unease settled over them. It was as if the house itself was reacting to their presence, as if it was trying to tell them something. They huddled together, their flashlights flickering in the darkness. Sarah saw a shadowy figure in the mirror. It was just a glimpse, a fleeting image that disappeared as quickly as it had appeared, but it was enough to make her heart race, to make her feel a sense of terror that she couldn't explain. She tried to tell the others, but the words caught in her throat. She felt a presence, a sense of being watched, and she knew that they were not alone. They turned, but found only darkness. The room was empty, but the feeling of being watched remained. They shone their flashlights around, but the shadows seemed to move and shift as if something was lurking just out of sight. They felt a sense of panic, a feeling that they were trapped in a place where the rules of reality no longer applied. Trapped, panic set in. They tried to find a way out, but the house seemed to twist and turn, leading them in circles. The walls seemed to close in around them, and the whispers grew louder, more insistent. They felt a sense of dread, a feeling that they were being drawn deeper into the house's dark secrets. Footsteps approached. The sound was soft at first, a faint echo that seemed to come from the depths of the house, but it grew louder, more distinct, and they realized that they were not alone. They felt a sense of terror, a feeling that something was coming for them, something that they couldn't see or understand. A shadowy figure with glowing eyes and a twisted smile stood behind them. It was a figure of nightmares, a ghostly presence that seemed to radiate malevolence. They felt a sense of terror, a feeling that they were in the presence of something truly evil. They tried to run, but the house seemed to close in around them, trapping them in its dark embrace. The house seemed alive, trapping them in its shifting walls. The walls seemed to move and shift, leading them deeper into the house's dark secrets. They felt a sense of dread, a feeling that they were being drawn into a place where the rules of reality no longer applied. They tried to find a way out, but the house seemed to twist and turn, leading them in circles. By morning, the house was silent. The sun rose, casting a pale light over the house's crumbling facade. The air was still, and the whispers had faded away. The house seemed to have returned to its slumber, its dark secrets hidden once more. No trace of Tom, Sarah, or Mike. They had vanished without a trace, leaving behind only their flashlights and the echoes of their laughter. The house had claimed them, drawing them into its dark embrace. The legend of Hawthorn Street had been proven true, and the house's dark secrets remained hidden. Just flickering flashlights left behind. The light flickered and died, leaving the house in darkness once more. The air was heavy with a sense of foreboding, a feeling that the house's dark secrets were still waiting to be uncovered. The legend of Hawthorn Street grew darker, a chilling reminder. Some doors should never be opened. The house stood as a silent sentinel, a reminder of the dangers that lurked within its walls. The locals continued to avoid it, crossing the street to avoid walking past its crumbling facade. The children still dared each other to touch its front gate, but none were brave enough to venture inside. The house remained the place of mystery and fear, a place where the past and the present were intertwined, and where the line between the living and the dead was blurred. It was a place where the whispers of the past could still be heard, and where the shadows seemed to move and shift, hiding secrets that were best left undisturbed. The legend of Hawthorn Street would continue to grow, a chilling reminder of the dangers that lurked within the house's dark embrace. And for those who dared to venture inside, the house would always be waiting, ready to claim its next victim.